gentleman was showing all the paintings. I don't know how this thing works. I'm trying my best.
Boy, I almost selected too much work for that exhibition. That fit right in there, huh?
It did. It was a pretty close one. We had let's see, another show that was going in our outer gallery, which I can show later, in February. So it was almost a little bit much, but still pretty good. I'd like to welcome everybody that's joining the Zoom to the Northwest Arts Center. My name is Greg Vettel. I'm the director of the Arts Center. It's awesome that we're able to have Aaron here remotely and all of the artists. I'm really overjoyed seeing all the names pop into the Zoom. We'll continue to look around the exhibition space. In a little bit, Minot State University students are going to be arriving. As I said earlier, if you want to see a specific work in the gallery, I can do that, or we'll just keep going through the exhibition.
Well, you could probably done now, huh?
Aaron, is it still spotlighting the gallery video?
It is, yes.
Okay, wonderful. Wonderful.
That's all right here. Where's my painting, you guys?
So this is and I'll try and highlight the artist too. So this one's Andrew Duquesne. It's a lithograph and screen print. So the main gallery in the Arts Center is about 220, 230 linear feet. So you did select quite a show.
I wasn't going to let you off easy.
No, of course not. Wouldn't have it any other way. Here's the second piece by Nick Ruth, who's with us tonight as well. I have to say, it's one thing to see the size of a work on paper or on an entry form, and it's another thing entirely when you receive it and they're marvelously huge.
I tried to pay attention to the scale when I was making the selections, but that was like the least important factor in my mind.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny because as you're walking around, some of the pieces that I thought were enormous are really small, and some of the pieces that I thought were really small are enormous.
It can be interesting to see, like, even things that I thought I had a good handle on how large they are, on seeing them in person. And this is a cast paper piece by John Winklereck. Here we have a mezzotint, and I'm going to try to get so I can maybe get without the reflection here, or maybe stand a little bit better. Mezzotint by Jacob Crook. It's really got some amazing depth to it. We do have images of all of the selected works in the exhibition at the Northwest Art Center website as well. If you want to be able to look at the piece without seeing me in the glazing. Mixed media collage on paper by Rhonda Erdang. Now I have to see if Rhonda is going to be at the in the Zoom this evening. She's entered the Paperworks exhibitions at the Art Center fairly regularly. Always has wonderful collages. Here's the second piece selected for the exhibition by Aaron, by John Winklereck. It's another cast paper piece. And this is one where I didn't expect the size to be what it was. It's very nice hanging. It's the texture.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that too. Significantly larger than it, even though I saw the dimensions, it's just larger there than I imagined.
Yeah, yep. And the impression you get from it from an image, and that's something you can speak to kind of, you know, during an exhibition from digital images. And you did two shows that you had been the juror for in December, right?
I actually did 3.
3. Oh my goodness.
So it was, yeah, the lines got crossed, the wires started to get crossed a little bit, and I was trying to remember what pieces were for what shows. And
here's a really great work by Christine Baum. The title is Genuflect, and it's a block printed pattern on hand cut paper. It's quite nice. So there's an interesting story to receiving this piece. With this work, we hadn't received, because we send out the notifications for the show, we hadn't received word back from Christine that she was going to participate in the show. And we emailed again, and she did reach back out to us, and she had just had a baby. She had called us, or actually emailed us from the hospital.
wow.
And still managed to get the work sent out. It's just really phenomenal. Are we getting any echo on sound online?
We are now. We weren't.
You are now? I weren't before? Okay.
It's happening now.
Trying to juggle multiple devices. We'll see how it goes. So this is a piece, Kate Borderching, lithograph, relief, and monoprint. It's very nice.
That print is insane.
Yeah.
Greg, is there one piece by her in the show or 2?
I believe it's one. I believe there's one piece. But yeah, marvelous print. This work is Eric Wilson, Over the Airwaves, Goodbye Buckaroo. Also a lithograph.
Is it one minute?
It's still raw.
Yeah, take this piece.
No, you had it.
I had enough. I had enough. I have this piece.
You didn't have any.
All right, so we're starting to get some people in the gallery now. One of the things that allows us to be a little bit flexible with the layout of the gallery is that center wall that we use in the installations rotates. So it can give us a little bit of flexibility. Okay. So I kind of just pan back to give you a little bit wider view of the gallery. If you're joining us now, this is at the Northwest Art Center, the reception for America's Paperworks 2021. The piece that we're looking at now is by Christina Kang. It's a screen print entitled Rinse and Repeat. And here, another interesting work. This is Cyan Tornatsky. It's inkjet print origami paper.
Show my picture.
Once again, to see these pieces in maybe a larger format, you can look at the Northwest Art Center website as well. We have two works that Aaron selected by Brandy Cole for the exhibition. They're these wonderful mixed media portraits with thread and fabric. It looks like a mylar or transparent film as well.
I just found out a few hours ago that that Brandy is from Tucson.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah,
Is she there currently or originally?
Good. I enjoyed it.
I don't know. That's what was listed under her piece on the website.
Yeah,
I just
it
obviously
is.
didn't have access to that information. That's pretty crazy.
That's cool. This work is a mezzotint lithograph and screen print by Aaron Wolitz, titled The Eagle.
Thank you, dear.
There's a lot of great areas in this piece too. Here's the second work by Christina Kang in the exhibition. Lithograph by Sheen Calais.
Here's my painting. Here's my painting. And I'm passing by it. Oh, you said everything.
All right, we're coming
Yeah,
back.
look at that
I know
gorgeous
that that's you, Diane. I can hear your voice.
Look at that.
So we
Look at
have
that. There's my painting.
Watercolor by Diane Stoltz.
Diane made me wish I didn't live in the desert. That painting makes me thirsty.
Makes me think of some areas in North Dakota.
It's a beautiful
Right.
thing.
Yeah. Some wonderful, wonderful detail. We have two risograph prints by Joseph Lupo. Lost in Translation. Great pieces. And here is the second collage by Rhonda Erdang. Rhonda is actually in Flagstaff, Arizona, or outside of Flagstaff, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
Getting in really close to these, I always am interested in collage, and if the pieces are using digitally printed materials, if it's found materials. And it looks to be maybe a combination of both for Rhonda's work. But I think some great commentary, both within the piece and in her titling. This one is The Liberation of Harriet Tubman, 1867. So here's another shot of the gallery. And this work by Andrew Rice, which is another collage, was one that struck me the other way because of its size. Because it's 8 by 10 perhaps. It has some great.
I think the visual density when you see it online makes you think that it might be big.
Yeah.
But it's smaller than I anticipated.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of just great overlapping elements, and as you had said, Aaron, very visually dense.
Yeah, he's speaking my language with that one.
Yeah. Here's that second piece by Brandy Cole, mixed media, entitled Woven. Looks to be like a canvas backing. Again, has like a transparent mylar with the fabric and thread. Just wonderfully rich. This work is by Don Q. Kim. It's from New Jersey. And if I can get in to show some of the detail in this piece, the medium is paper receipts, thread, and microfiber cloth. So it's woven from paper receipts. And Don Q actually, he had entered work in our 2020 All Media exhibition and had received Best of Show. So we're very excited to have an exhibition of his on campus. And it's going to be incredible. Very, very intricate. So there's the larger version of yourselves. So I think we're nearly back to where we started. I got to go to the center wall and go over those works. If you're just joining the Facebook, we're looking at the America's Paperworks 2021 exhibition. Look at this piece here. So I think Atanas is here with us on the Facebook Live. And I think that there's something incredibly, subtle and unique about paper sculpture when done in forms like this. So it was a wonder to unpack this and prepare it for the show.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's a smart piece.
It was very interesting to because I had been curious how it was going to be shipped, and Atanas had shipped it. It was fully assembled and packed, and it made the trip very well.
It's my pleasure.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
This work here is acrylic on paper, Kelsey Skordahl. Title is Reticent. Okay, and we're just about time to get set up for the jurors' talk and presentation of awards, but I'll keep going on these works here. So this is Christine Winchell. It's Procyon dye and wax paper. This is one where it was, you look at the size and it's substantially more in person than the impact that you get from the digital image on the website.
I'd like to see a whole show of that work.
This is a woodcut and sheen Calais, Mike Pennekamp. Title of the work is Ghosts. And I just love that fine engraved relief detail. These two works are gouache paint on paper assemblages, Vinnie Ray, entitled Portal 13 and Portal 14. And I think Vinnie is on either in Zoom or on the Facebook Live watching as well. So I think we got to look at the majority of the pieces in the show. I know I didn't get to this other side of the wall here yet, but I'll continue, or Sally, the Art Center gallery assistant, will continue after we do the jurors talk. But I'll go ahead and I'm gonna stop streaming from the mobile device that I have here. And we're gonna turn on our unit so that everybody else can see Aaron. So it'll be about just a few minutes here and I'll have it set up. All right. How's the volume on this? Can you hear me pretty well?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and gather everybody together in the gallery. All right. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I'm going to heckle students. I'm going to introduce Aaron. Aaron is joining us from Tucson for the Jurors Cup. So Aaron,
Who's that? Is that Ryan?
that's Ryan.
What's up, Ryan? How you doing, buddy?
So I'd like to thank everybody for being able to join us online and in person. We have students here, Minot State University students in the gallery. And I'd like to just say some thanks. And I'd like first to thank Aaron for graciously agreeing to jury the exhibition. It's an honor to have him as the juror for the 50th anniversary of this juried exhibition at Minot State. It started out in the 1970s as the National Print and Drawing Show, and then over the years transformed into a Works on Paper exhibition, and finally into its current form, the America's Paperworks exhibition. Aaron joins a kind of a great, awesome list of jurors that we've had throughout the years, from the first juror, who was Robert Nelson. David Dreisbach was a juror one year. We've had such printmakers as Victoria Moore-Rappaport as a juror, and it's just amazing to be able to have Aaron juror the show. And just an honor. I'd also like to thank all of the artists who submit their work to these juried exhibitions, in part so that our students can see just incredible contemporary work by practicing artists in the United States, internationally as well, and not just our students, but also our community audiences, our local regional audiences here in Minot. We're kind of off the beaten path, and while you can see anything you want to online, It's just really incredible and such a valuable thing for us to be able to get this work in our gallery here at Minot State University. And then finally, I'd like to thank our students and our faculty for, I guess, supporting the Arts Center, volunteering, coming to view the shows, and for taking the opportunity to learn from the work that you see in these exhibitions, and also the work in the permanent collection at Minot State that has been the result of hosting these exhibitions for the past 50 years. And then finally, I would be remiss if I didn't state my thanks for the North Dakota Council on the Arts, for which a wide variety of our programming without them would not be capable. This exhibition is supported in part through the North Dakota Council on the Arts and the state legislature. So without further ado, I'd like to turn this over to Aaron for a juror's talk, and then we'll have a presentation of awards. I am going to change the spotlighted video to Aaron, and that'll take me just a second. Aaron, you can go ahead and get started.
I don't think they need to see my face any bigger than it is in this little tiny window. No, I'm kidding. So I am also going to start with some thanks. First I want to thank Greg and Micah for reaching out and allowing me to be, continue on this kind of legacy of printmaking jurors who have been involved in this exhibition. It's, an honor and a privilege to kind of follow behind them. They're all printmakers and artists that I looked up to coming up. So that's a really special thing for me. I think most importantly, I want to say thank you to all of the artists who applied to the exhibition. We're always, as artists, looking for opportunities to get our work out there, to build our resumes, to meet people, to have people see our work. And I think it's easy to forget how generous of an act it is to put your work out into the world. So for me personally, it was an honor and a privilege to have the opportunity to go through so much work from all across the country, especially during this strange time that we're living in. There's a lot of isolation. We're seeing a lot of faces through screens, and that's had a pretty profound impact on me. So to see so many people not only still making art, but finding ways to produce it, frame it, ship it, just so other people can experience it, is to me a very generous act. And so I really appreciate that opportunity. And it really provided me with kind of a reprieve from some of the stresses of the time that we're living in. So thank you to everybody who applied, accepted or not. I really appreciate that. So, when I jury an exhibition, it's usually kind of a difficult task because there's a lot of work to go through. I think there were close to 300 entries for this exhibition. And so it can be difficult and kind of daunting. And it's not as simple as selecting what I think is the best work or what I think is the strongest work. There's a lot of other questions that kind of flow through my head. And so, I'm thinking about things like, my perception of skill and technical ability. I'm thinking about conceptual richness and conceptual depth, conceptual sophistication. I'm thinking about things like abstraction versus representation, or in contrast to representation. I'm questioning whether or not I want to create an exhibition or curate an exhibition around a cohesive theme, or if I want to have it be kind of a smorgasbord of mediums and styles. And so there's a lot to consider when you're presented with that much work. And ultimately, what I decided, is arguably maybe the best scenario for a group exhibition like this is to have a wide variety of approaches and concepts and mediums, but from a smaller group of artists. And so essentially what I ended up trying to do was selecting multiple pieces from less artists rather than selecting individual pieces from a lot of artists. And partially is to help further a conversation between the works themselves that are in the exhibition. But also I know what it's like to try to have one piece represent your ideas and your work and your concepts and all the research that you might be doing. And so it's often, a body of work can say quite a bit more than a singular piece. And so that was a big part of the motivation for me in selecting multiple works from a smaller pool of artists. Another thing that I really, really focused on for this exhibition was the medium. There was an extraordinary range of material approaches to the works in this exhibition. And some seem very exploratory or experimental, and some seem more in the vein of the medium being the message itself. And so I was really inspired by that. I'm currently right now in my studio, I'm experimenting with a lot of bizarre materials. And so that kind of came at the perfect time for me. And it was really exciting to see all the different approaches and ways and methods that people are using to make their work. So I tried to pick a range. It would have been really easy for me as a printmaker to pick a bunch of prints, and I wanted to at some points, but it was easy for me to hone in on some of the more interesting materials or unexpected material choices. So that is really those are kinds of the nuts and bolts of what fueled my decisions. There are some pieces that I felt really displayed a technical proficiency. There are some pieces that conceptually just kind of struck me in the chest and knocked the wind out of me. And there are some pieces that are so visually captivating that I gravitated towards them. So it was really a range of motivations and influences that helped me select the works for this exhibition. But all in all, I wanted to select work that I thought was of a certain quality, and that I thought would create an exhibition that spoke to itself, if I can kind of be strange about it. I wanted the work to talk to each other. I wanted to see different pieces move around the gallery. And so, Nick Ruth, for example, who's in the exhibition, I wanted to see that etching next to so many other works. So picking two was a way for me to kind of sneakily have it exist next to more things than just what's on either side of it. There's a really great photograph in the exhibition. I'm blanking on the artist's name right now. Who's the artist? Let me see.
Michael Fowler.
Michael Fowler, yes. That photograph is really gorgeous. But when you see that photograph in conversation with the Mezzotint by Jacob Crook, all of a sudden you have this interesting dialogue, not only between the works of art, but between the minds of artists who maybe live, across the country from each other. And so that was something that I found really interesting too, was the kind of extreme differences in all the different pieces, but also the little similarities. And I think those connections are easier to notice right now because of the world that we live in. We're always looking for connection and to know that we're part of a conversation. And so as I looked through the work, I tried to find those conversations. So it was a really enjoyable experience for me. I'm really proud of all the work that's in the exhibition. I'm excited by all the artists who submitted work. They it's motivating. It's part of the reason why I teach, is because I get to surround myself with creative humans, and it always lights a fire under me. So during this exhibition was no different. It really helped light a fire under me and get me motivated. So I appreciate the opportunity. I really wish I could be there in person to shake some hands and to see the work in person, but you know, that's the way things go right now. So I don't want to ramble on too much, but thank you all for the opportunity, and you know, it's a great looking show.
I think, so oftentimes too, when we have like a jurors talk to, people have questions. So if anybody has, you know, any questions for Aaron about, you know, maybe it's a particular piece, maybe it's some of the process of jury, some of the themes that he just spoke about, we can take a question from here in the gallery, or if somebody online wants to unmute or has a question for Aaron, and we can do that later in the reception too, but it has in the gallery. Yeah, all right, Mike.
I don't know if you can see me.
You can see it.
Oh, okay. Hey, this is Mike. I have a question regarding some of the work that you've seen. I think it's possible that it could have been made during this pandemic. And I wondered if you saw anything there that was maybe different, or you don't think maybe could have been made unless there was a pandemic. Did anything come up that you thought like, oh, this is the time I'm living in? I don't know. That's what I'm interested in.
Yeah, you know, that's something that I've been thinking about a lot as teaching has moved to online, and we're trying to figure out how to offer an equitable experience for students that are learning at home and taking studio courses at home. Not everybody has access to the same spaces or materials, you know, or equipment. And so, you know, my students, I've been really impressed with their kind of ingenuity and their resourcefulness. And that I definitely saw that in a lot of the work that was submitted to this exhibition. Now, whether or not that work would have been made the same way under different circumstances, I'm not sure, but I definitely thought about it when I was looking at Dong's receipt pieces, the woven receipt pieces. I was thinking about, you know, first of all, just seeing paper receipts was almost nostalgic, because we're ordering everything on Amazon right now. You know, everything's coming on over online. And so seeing those paper receipts was a bit nostalgic, even though it's been a year. And then also thinking about the kind of minimal quality of readily available materials. What struck me about those pieces is that it's just receipts and thread. And so that kind of resourcefulness showed itself in quite a bit of the work. You know, another one of the pieces is Noble Golden, and those. Oh yeah, they're showing Dong's piece right now. Noble Golden has some of the more physical surfaced pieces in the show, and I believe that they're paper and encaustic. But I kept wondering, what is the paper? Like, are these magazines? Are they there's sometimes looks like a cardboard box. And so I was interested in the resourcefulness. And I think I talk about that in a way in the juror's statement when I mention how I was inspired by the variety of approaches and materials. And part of that inspiration is just the resourcefulness of artists and using unexpected materials to make really beautiful work. So that was definitely in my mind.
Thank you. Anybody else?
If there aren't any additional questions at this time, what we can do is, so part of the show, part of the exhibition is the juror selects 5 merit awards and best of show. And we really enjoy being able to honor great works of art. And one of the things that makes the best of show rather unique for Minot State University here is that the best of show artist gets to present a solo exhibition in the Northwest Arts Center Open Field Gallery. So Aaron, do you want to start with merit awards, and we'll go? Do you have a preference?
Sure. Yeah, we can start with the merit awards. So the first merit award goes to Brandy Cole for Woven. And I believe we're going to see that on the screen here in a second. Yeah.
It's mixed media containing fabric and thread, cloth. It's like some plastic, mylar as well. Just if you'd like to speak a little bit, Aaron, about the choice.
Yeah, sure. I thought, I thought this piece really had a lot of balance to it. And I don't mean that in, like a kind of foundational art jargon kind of way. I mean, a lot of the work in the exhibition is abstract, and a lot of the work in the exhibition is representational. And this piece really kind of blurred the lines a little bit. It moves in and out of representational and abstraction. It also, at first, is seemingly a traditional image, but then the materials really kind of fracture the surface. This is one of the pieces that I really wish I could be there to see in person. And once I viewed the exhibition online, I was excited to find out that Noble lives in Tucson, or I think lives in Tucson. And so maybe I will get to see this work in person someday. But yeah, there's something about just the surface quality of this piece. And then also issues of representation as it pertains to identity comes across in this work for me. And I don't know anything about Noble, but I do know that looking across the submissions of this person's work, I saw a diverse group of subjects being represented, all female. So it felt really important to me that this artist was representing female figures and also from different and diverse backgrounds. So I just really appreciated this work, and I would really like to see it in person.
It does have a definite textural quality that you get from being able to witness it in the gallery and see the piece. So if you want to go to the next work here.
Yeah, so okay, who's next on my list here? Oh, I'm sorry. I think I was just referring to Brandy as Noble. That was Brandy Cole. My apologies, Brandy. Okay, so next, since I've already said Noble's name, let's go to Noble Golden's piece. And I talked about this a little bit when I answered Micah's question. My apologies for that, Brandy, if Brandy's in here.
I had to remember where we had installed it. My apologies.
Yeah, this piece right here, I believe this is titled Zulu. And it's one of a series. Am I correct there, Greg?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, so the whole body of work from Noble really struck me. The titles are really interesting to me. I'm curious about Zulu. I think about tribes in Africa. I think about the Zulu nation that Africa Bambaataa started in Brooklyn in the late 70s, 80s, the hip hop crew. So that title was really curious to me. But again, the resourcefulness, the meticulous nature of how this is constructed. You know, this show is called Paperworks, and this piece really, in my opinion, stretches my understanding of what paper can look like. I mean, it starts to look like a metal vent, or, you know, the grill of a car. So that was really interesting to me, that kind of shift in how I interpret material, but also just the overall motif and design, having kind of a textile nature to it. Or I think about tiles, the tile work that I'm surrounded by here in Tucson. So I just felt that this work was not only visually impactful, but conceptually it covers a wide range, and it's very open to interpretation. So I really like these works. This is another artist who I'd like to see kind of an entire exhibition. Also has some hints of Mark Bradford in there a little bit, when I think about Mark Bradford's large scale paintings and the physicality of them. Really amazing work.
This is Noble Golden.
Hi.
I want to thank you for your recognition and understanding my work. It thrills me. So thank you so much. It's, of course, my background clearly is in weaving.
Sure.
Yeah. The Zulu piece, I did a series based on Zulu tribal shields. I travel a lot, so thank you for recognizing that. It looks like a stunning show.
Yeah, well, your piece is adding to that, and I'm glad you're here to chime in and say hi. So thanks for that.
Wouldn't miss it. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. So next on my list is John Winklereck, and I hope I said that name correctly.
I think you did. So this is one that we did get to see before the talk, but I'll go over here.
Yeah, and so John has two pieces in the exhibition. I think Noble has two pieces too, and so did Brandy. And so John has this piece, which I gave the Merit Award, and then he has a wall piece as well, but I'll talk about this one and then maybe we can show the wall piece after. So this is another piece that really warps my mind when it comes to the understanding of materials. I mean, just the surface quality and the physicality of this object. I've never seen paper look like it weighs a ton, but that does it. I'm also really intrigued by the kind of strange Americana nature of this. It looks like an old lead toy. And so a lot of what I was thinking about when I selected this piece for the show was how toys kind of are usually modeled around violent objects, and so the kind of contrast in ideas there, where you might have a child playing with a toy gun, that strange conundrum, but then also the contrast or conundrum of paper appearing to be heavy as an object. So those two things really clicked for me and made a lot of sense. I also really like this work in conversation with Eric Wilson's prints that are on the wall. They have a similar kind of dusty color palette and hint at Americana. And so that's another reason that I thought there was some good communication there between those pieces. Very strong work. Yeah, I like this one a lot. And then the wall piece is really amazing too. Is John here? No. Yeah, this one was surprising. This one really, to see this, even on video, to see it is very different than seeing it as a still photograph. Just the sheer physicality of this is really striking to me.
Okay, so you had said moving to Don Q.
So yeah, well, yeah, Dom Q is on my list. Yeah, we can go to Dom Q. Okay, so this is Don Q, and this is one of two by Don Q that I selected for the exhibition. It was pretty difficult for me to pick one that received a merit award, and I'm not really going to say that this one gets a merit over the other one. I just wanted Don Q to get a merit award. I think this work is really fantastic. Again, I spoke about it when Micah asked that question about if this work would have been made under other circumstances. And again, the minimal nature of the materials really spoke to me. I think it's easy for me at least to want to throw the kitchen sink at something. And so just seeing the use of receipts and thread solely make up this piece, and then the different kind of deterioration of the receipts creating tonal variation. You know, we start to think about things like consumerism and waste and use. I'm seeing like Michael's receipts there and Home Depot receipts there. So we think about capitalism and purchasing things that we need versus purchasing things that we want. So yeah, this piece spoke to me for a lot of different reasons. And then the other piece, maybe a little more heavy-handed, has some more political implications behind it. It's in a motif of an American flag. Yeah, right there on the wall. My dog came in here, I'm sorry. Yes, this piece here. So again, you know, themes of capitalism and consumerism come to mind. And also, you know, of course, during this kind of social and cultural uprising, upheaval that we were going through and still are going through, I've seen a lot of people try to re-envision the American flag or recontextualize what the American flag means. And so to see that done through such a specific material choice, I think is a strong gesture. And so that really spoke to me as well. So yeah, Don Q, congratulations and fantastic work. It's exciting to hear that he'll have a solo exhibition on campus. Okay, so next on my list is Kelsey Shordall. Uh-oh, we lost the gallery view. There we go.
We're back now. It's the handheld is not liking its battery very much.
Uh-oh. I think she's right on the other side of that wall. Yeah, down there at the end. So I selected this painting mainly because I like it. Well, that's just going to be, that's the honest truth. I like it a lot, but also because I find it extremely refreshing. The limited color palette, the kind of thin washes of paint, the simple gestural lines, the unfinished drawing and figurative elements, the kind of like, you know, faux collage image stuck down there at the bottom. You know, there's a very emotive quality to this painting, and I just found it to be kind of surprising and refreshing, and so it stuck out to me as a somewhat non-traditional painting. It's almost more of a drawing done with paint, and it's just a beautiful image, and it really struck me. So I found it very powerful. Okay, so last but not least is our best in show artist, and that is Aaron Wolitz. And Aaron also has two pieces in the exhibition.
I'll make my way to the best of show piece.
Yes, this one. So this piece is titled "My Friend Lita," and it's a amalgam of printmaking techniques. So we have mezzotint, we have lithography, we have screen print. I'm first of all blown away just by the ambition of a print like that. That many processes and techniques it's a lot of physical labor. It's a lot of processes to master, and then to fit them together so seamlessly takes a certain level of craftsmanship and meticulousness that you don't see in a lot of printmakers out there. And so to me, this was just such an ambitious piece. And that's just technical aspects. When you come to the conceptual side of things, there's so much to pull from in this work. The little drawings, actually, now that I'm looking at this up close, I believe that there's trace monotype on there too. And there's also that same material investigation with the heart stickers and the collaged elements. But when you come to the conceptual side of things, there's so much to pull from this. There's an honesty about this work that I find very moving. There's, rendered images of swans. And so I think about like the ugly duckling. There's line drawings of female figures embracing each other. So I think about gender politics and identity politics. I think about gender norms and gender roles. There are heavily representational images paired with kind of more doodle imagery, and then the distorted photographic water lily image in the background referencing art history. This is just, to me, an extremely rich piece, conceptually, visually, technically, and all of those are the reasons that I chose this work for Best in Show. And to be, completely honest, again, I could have given the Best in Show to either one of Aaron's pieces. I think this is a phenomenal artist and someone to definitely look for in the future as someone who's going to do really big things and change the printmaking game quite a bit. So congratulations, Aaron, on the Best of Show, and congratulations everyone else for the Merit Awards, all very well deserved. Congratulations to everyone in the exhibition. It's a beautiful show. And thank you again to everybody who applied for giving me the opportunity to look through the work. It was really a fun experience and an enriching experience. And I'm happy to answer any questions that people might have. Or
Thank you, Aaron, again for both jurying and your insight into why you chose the work, the awards, and how you view the individual pieces. It's really great to be able to have you here remotely. It's good. Yeah. This is that second work by Aaron Woolens.
It's another stunner. There's hints of pop culture. There's hints of history and art history. There's some aspects that almost seem like journal entries, so there's just, to me, this is kind of like endless work that I could spend a lot of time with, even down to the little page separators on the far right side. They're almost a detail that you wouldn't notice, but there are plastic page separators stuck to the back of the print. It's just a phenomenal set of works. So excited to see what this person does in the future.
All right. So
my last thought would be to encourage people that see the exhibition online is to look at the images individually, but then look at the grid of images and start trying to make some of those connections between the pieces that I was trying to make. I think it'll kind of maybe just shift your perspective of the exhibition a little bit, or add something new to it.
Okay, so we'll have this up. Anyone would like to visit with Aaron or any of the artists that are here, if people have questions about their work, we can take questions here. We do have students that are also online in the Zoom. If any students online would like to ask a question of Aaron or any of the attending artists, we can do that as well. I think there were a few pieces that I didn't get to highlight before the talk, so I'll continue to do that as soon as I can get my gimbal figured out here. Let's see, it looks like we do have quite a few people in the Zoom. It's wonderful to see so many of the artists that were able to attend. Again, thank you so much for submitting your work and for creating and showing your creations to all of us. And thanks again to Aaron for doing the exhibition. Okay.
Thank you, Aaron. Thanks. I don't know if you can see me, but thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming, and thanks for listening and all that good stuff.
We need more.
We do.
Aaron, I have a question. How many of the works did you know the artists, or you'd seen their work before? Or?
Yeah, some of them. That definitely happens, you know, and it can make things interesting and awkward too. Some of the printmakers I do know personally, you know, but they know me well, and they know that just because they know me, they're not going to get into an exhibition. Erin's work, the one who got Best in Show, I know her I know her a little bit. I have limited experience with her, but she's someone whose work I've been following for, you know, about a year now. And I just think that her work is so phenomenal. And so I when I knew that the Best in Show award was a solo exhibition, I was trying to take into consideration where the exhibition was going to be and who was going to be a big part of the audience seeing it. And so I thought that Erin would be a great person. Not only does the work deserve it, but I thought she would be a great person to kind of expose the students there to like such a wide range of printmaking techniques in one shot. And also potentially someone as a great visiting artist, because the work is just so amazing. But I knew Eric Wilson. He was a former student of mine. I know Ryan, and it's funny, when I was looking at Ryan's work, I had a feeling that the piece I selected was his. And I was like, I really hope this is his, because I'm like rejecting the one with his face on it. Sorry to put you on the spot. But I was like, I think this is his. So I'm glad that turned out the way it did, because that's a fantastic piece too. It's a lot of good work in the show. There's a couple other people in there that I knew, that I know a little bit. I know Jacob Crook just from my experience in the mezzotint world. I know of Mike Penkamp. We don't know each other personally, but I've seen his work before. There aren't a whole lot outside of the printmakers. I almost didn't know anybody that applied, and it was really cool to see after seeing the work online, I was privy to the information. I was privy to their name and where they were from. And so it was cool to see so many people from, there's a few people from Arizona, and then there's a lot of people from Texas. So it was cool to see a lot of people from the Southwest. You know, see if I can bump into some of them at some point.
Very good.
Yeah, it's fun to get our own students in here. So Johanna has two exciting technical history piece and the newspaper piece. That's she's making some really great stuff. She's been in the show several times. Yeah.
Oh, this is a piece we didn't get to look at yet. This is Brian Hutchins. This was one that was really hard to decipher just seeing it online.
There's a lot going on that piece, the major materials too. So one of the things we do at the Art Center is we have our students, we have student designers, graphic designers that work with the exhibition materials and promotional materials for the show. That was the piece that the student designer had decided to draw the poster, the social media graphics.
That makes sense. It's an eye-catching, exciting piece.
So Aaron, when you look around the gallery, I mean, there's always surprises, right? When you're doing this jury by JPEG. And anything that you saw that was, I don't know, much smaller, much bigger, maybe in scale than you thought, or any surprises?
Yes, there's a lot of surprises. And it's funny because I feel a little bit irresponsible because I had the dimensions, you know, I knew how big things were, but it just doesn't compute. You know, you can say something's 18 by 24, but until you see it in a space, that doesn't mean anything. So yeah, first of all, when Greg started panning around the gallery, I was surprised by how much work I had selected. And I thought, man, if there had been one more piece, y'all would have run out of space. Almost, you know. But then, yeah, there's an artist in the show who actually, she's one of the non-printmakers that I know. Her name is Al Danier. Say it again.
Al Denver.
Yes. And she has those really beautiful the drawings. They're like kind of like gel pen drawings or pen and ink drawings. And for some reason, I've seen her work before, and it's always been quite large, like 36 by 36, 48 by 48. And so when I saw those images, I just assumed that was the scale. And then seeing them in the show and realize how small they are, I'm pleased at how small they are, because I think, you know, while her large works are really kind of breathtaking to behold, there's also a lot of intimacy in her works. And to be able to kind of pull you into this tiny little window of this meticulous, beautiful drawing, I think is just kind of fascinating. And so I'm actually pleasantly surprised that those are smaller than I thought they were. Brandy's work, the woven stitched portraits, those are significantly larger than I thought they were.
Wow.
I thought those were quite small, and they appear quite a bit larger. there were definitely some surprises, but most of them were good surprises. You know, it shifts my way of understanding the work, and the way that they're made and the physicality of them.
I like these drive like the big cell towers.
Yeah,
I think those are pretty great.
they're gorgeous. Those really caught my attention because I do know Nick's work previously, and it's usually completely saturated with color and very dense. And there's like kind of an overload of signs or structures. And so to see these kind of, they're like lonely in a way. You know,
They're great. I think that's it. It's like the, whatever that is, the landscape, the kind of stuff that's traveling through the wireless. I don't know. I think it's pretty powerful.
And there's the repetitive nature of the rocks at the base. It's like almost like a copy and paste of the landscape. They just felt like they fit in his body of work seamlessly, but say something in a totally different way. They say the same thing as the old work, just in a completely different way. And that really struck me. And I sat with these images for a long time because they're just quiet and they're kind of sad, but it felt good to be sad about something else for a second. You know, I don't know what it was. I just find them really beautiful and calming, and
Terrifying. I mean,
terrifying. Yeah, there's
they're also terrifying. I mean, they're big syringes or they're big needles or they're big, like, they cut into that landscape, that organic kind of whatever it is. And it's kind of, it's the geometry.
Yeah, Nick says he was thinking of them as portraits, but maybe of portraits of someone who's not perfect. And I maybe that's what it was, Nick, is normally when I look at your work, I'm thinking about it as a landscape. But when I saw these, the first thought that came to my mind was lonely. And I immediately like personified these towers. And so I maybe saw them in a way as portraits too. And maybe that's why I felt like bad for them. I felt kind of sad, but that tension is there. They're like these piercing objects. So why would you feel sad for them? They're also these technological objects that have, obviously the land has been kind of decimated to house them. So they're problematic in a lot of ways. So there's a lot of like mixed feelings going on in my head when I deal with these works.
Yeah, it's hard to have sympathy for it.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. I think they're fantastic.
I do too. Yeah, I want one.
That's a deal that could probably be made. This is Nick, and I'll just add in there. I really, really appreciate that conversation, and and thank you very much for thinking about them at that level. And that is certainly how I'm thinking about it. And one of the ways that I'm always trying to wrestle with this particular content about communication technologies, whether it's in cell towers or billboards or street signs, is the way in which these things represent our collective cultural decision making around what we're willing to do and what's important to us, and that just seems like a really problematic and not at all simple or straightforward thing, and maybe that accounts for the slightly sad quality that might be there.
Hey Nick.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the kind of like copy and paste?
Yeah.
Little tufts of grass or the rocks.
Yep. So this was a really, really cool project, and I'll just try to be super brief about it. And I worked with collaboratively with Mirabeau Press in Buffalo and some really talented printmakers there who are technically gifted and could do things that I myself can't do by myself. So the approach there was I knew I didn't want to hand draw all that stuff. I just felt like that would be unwieldy and possibly it could sink the whole thing. And what I was trying to do was just establish a ground plane that would be convincing and also not sort of in the way. And so what I did was I went back and I searched through the collections of the Met in particular for old master prints. And I found rocks and tufts of grass in certain particular old master prints. And then I copied them and cut and pasted them and made an Illustrator document where I distributed them in various different ways, changing their scale and literally just grouping them into, you know, say groups of 8 or something like that. And then copying and pasting that whole group and then doing that across one row and then shrinking them as they went back in space. And then what we did was we printed that out onto Mylar and did a screen print of emulsion onto the copper plate so that we could then etch that material with an aqua tint onto the copper plate to create the image. So it was really, really cool. The towers themselves are all hand drawn, but then to be able to both simultaneously engage with the history of print and then also use this incredibly contemporary set of techniques to get it onto the plate was pretty cool.
I mean, it was a brilliant decision, and this is just everything you're saying is like music to my ears. This is like, that's the kind of printmaking that I live for, you know, is really smashing the lines till they don't exist anymore, and you know, blurring the boundaries. And to do it, you know, when I do it, it's like total chaos. It's like, you know, there's so much going on, but to see it done in such a like quiet way, I think is just really amazing.
If you'll permit one more 30-second geek out, even the thing that was crazier than that was the graduated aqua tint. And like I say, you know, a lot of the credit here goes to this collaborative process of working with the people at the press. But that involved, you know, this incredibly performative thing of putting the plates into an acid bath and then sort of rocking them in and out of the bath across the section that needed to be aqua tinted to create that even gradient going from light at the bottom to dark at the horizon line. It was super cool to be involved with.
Oh my goodness.
Nice work, Nick. Thanks for those comments. It's really interesting. You know, I was just thinking about like how it's just strangely and oddly reversed, how the kind of organic material has been copy and pasted, you know, again, this very artificial way. And then the things that we're seeing as very artificial are hand drawn on your, you know, on your print. It's just this weird, you know, flip, which is pretty wonderful. So thanks.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for thank you for thinking about it at that level. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's good. It's great stuff.
That's what the print is about. It's like that.
So the other set of 4 that's on the other side of this wall, we hadn't gotten to see those yet online. So there's a relief print by Eric Johnson, and then a mezzotint by Linda Whitney.
See, yeah, here's another example of me trying to create a conversation between 2 works in the exhibition. And it's bizarre that they're right next to each other, but those 2 pieces were visually connected for me.
Yeah, we saw that when we were getting ready to install, and they speak to each other in such a way, you know, not color or, you know, representation abstract, but that curvilinear line that's so present in each piece. And, you know, both printmaking techniques, but you know, kind of wildly different technique too.
Yeah, definitely.
This is like yeah. Is there?
Yeah, that's great. Linda is someone I've known for a very long time.
Yeah, like casual.
I have an interesting story about that. We have a couple of pieces of yours in the collection here at Minot State. And one of those we acquired through a donation Linda made.
Nice.
The international, that Mesoprint exhibition exchange.
Yeah.
She donated her prints, or the ones that she received from that exchange, to the arts.
Nice. Very cool. That was a good exchange.
Yeah, there's a lot of wonderful work in that.
There sure is. I mean, there's some like highly sought after artists in that exchange. That was a long time ago. Wow.
Yeah, definitely a ways. This piece is from one of the. We had two artists from Canada and then Cleo Wilkinson from Australia, another mesotent.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for the mesotints, guys. I made mesotints for a long time, and I just there's something about them.
Hey, Aaron, I gotta take off. I gotta get back to my class. So again, thanks for everything. Yeah, it's a great show.
Yeah, thank you, man. It's good to see you.
Good to see
Hope
you
you guys are well.
Yes.
Staying pretty good. I wanted to show, I think there was one piece that we might have missed. We show them the newspaper.
Aaron, I got to roll too, but again, thank you so much. It was wonderful to see and hear you, and great insights on the work, and thanks for doing the work for the jury part of it. And I'll get you some photos of your show. Your show looks good, and I just got to get the photos to Nick. So have a great night. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you, Micah.
Yep, take care.
This is a man. This artist right here, I want to talk to this person. Who's signing off? Nick's signing off. Bye, Nick. Good to see you. This is an artist who I really want to talk to. This newspaper is fantastic. The print that she has, or they have in the exhibition, is fantastic. But I perused their work in total online today, and I'm just an immediate fan.
Well, this is one you will get a chance to speak with Joanna. She's one of the students at Minot State that entered the exhibition.
Oh, no way.
She's a BFA student, and she was really excited when you agreed to do the student critiques next week. So. Oh,
cool. Well, I won't be so flattering in the critique.
Yeah. Well, I don't think she's here now, so you're good.
I'll be tougher on her in the crit.
Yeah, there you go. She's actually preparing for her capstone exhibition.
Yeah. Do you know? She's a printmaker
now. Oh, okay.
Did you say she's a printmaker?
Yeah. Yep. Printmaker, graphic design, but her BFA is in printmaking.
Is she thinking about grad school?
Yes,
she is actually.
Interesting.
Oh. That's how you talk to him later, Jay.
She's also the student that did design the exhibition as well. So.
She's fantastic.
Your work, Joanna.
You can see. Okay, there's a lot.
So, Aaron, this is Johanna, and we found her flagger back in.
Oh, she's in the room?
Yeah.
Right in front of the TV.
You're tiny. You're tiny on the TV.
And I got a spotlight the other two.
Yeah, I thought your work was really amazing. I really love the print. I love the newspaper. And I perused some of your work online today, and it was super amazing, exciting, and fun work.
Thanks. Yeah. I think the professor says you were doing a talk next week for the seminar class.
Yeah.
Yeah. They said that you worked with religious imagery.
I do.
Yeah. So I'm planning my next body of work around like the material items within Catholicism specifically. So we don't talk about that tonight, but if I can get a chance to talk to you next week, that was something.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'll after the talk, we'll do questions and answers, and then I think I'm meeting with some of the students, and you might be one of them.
Probably, yeah.
All right, yeah. So we'll chat and have a good conversation, but just keep making awesome stuff. I really like the work that you're making. I don't know, is the stuff on your Instagram page, is that like kind of daily digital stuff that you're just making?
Yeah, so most of the posters on there I did when quarantine first started. So like for the first like 50 days, I think I did a poster every day. And I've slowed down a bit since then because I just forget to upload stuff on there. But
are those going to make it to print?
I mean, they should. I was gonna put them into like a book kind of thing, but I just haven't found like a cost-effective way to do it yet.
They need to be manifested physically for sure. They need to come to fruition. Those things are amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, super good. So, well, it's nice to meet you, and we'll get to talk a lot more next week, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, I'm glad I got to meet you.
Yeah.
Cool. Just lay me down.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we have a couple of students that will have these critiques on. Most of them are VFA students. But I guess we're getting, it's 8 o'clock now, so we can technically shut things down. But I see that we still have people in the Zoom here, and I would like to thank everybody that did attend. Artists, students, etc. And Aaron, thank you again for attending remotely and visiting with everyone on Zoom and in the gallery. It's really great. And I can't wait for next week too. We have your art seminar and then being able to work with our students here at Minot State.
Yeah, I'm super excited. This is going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
So I'll take some images of the show and I can send those on to you too, so you can see that. And then I'll also, for artists that are still in the Zoom, we will be providing the installation photography that will be up on the website, and then also in the catalog when that's finished.
Cool. Sounds good.
Cool.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm going to sign off, and thank you again for having me. It was really fun.
Not a problem at all. You can only stare at screens for so long, and we do it so much now that I hate to have you do it anymore. So
I know.
take it easy.
But I got to say, it's nice to look at some faces that are not part of a faculty meeting. So this is a pleasure.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's definitely nice too.
Yeah. Okay. All right, everyone.
Yep.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
As well. And thanks to everybody else on Zoom. I've been at the Northwest Art Center for the reception and online viewing for our 50th annual Paperworks Juried exhibition. Have a good night.
Take care, guys.